All right, famously as Rat sang, back for more. We are back for more on Sportswire Radio tonight because we have even more wrestling coverage, and you know it's my favorite company to talk about. You know it has been the company over the past year. I don't think there's any other company on Sportswire Radio that we've spoke about here, and I cannot wait to get into the Red Rose Rodeo here with the LWF because it is really going to be the good, the bad, and maybe even a referee or two, and you'll find out why I just said that. So let's get to him in his regular spot here. He is what I call the heart and soul of the LWF, and he is going to be on the call, of course, this coming Saturday at the Buckshore Village Community Center in Shorely. So without further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show, the heart and soul here of the LWF. That's Mikey Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Vicar. Thank you as always.
So I'm told I'm getting better at these. I've been told specifically by the Natural Born Fighter, RP Davis. I've been told specifically by the Wrecking Crew when they came on last month. I've been told by pretty much everybody at this point in professional wrestling that I'm doing okay at them. So I don't know if that's a stamp of approval. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if something bad's about to happen. But people are definitely, for whatever reason, liking it and tuned in. It is good to be with you. I feel like it's been a year, 2 years since I last spoke with you, but it's only been a month. So time definitely flies when you're having fun here, especially when it comes to the LWF. And before I get to the card and run things down here, I know that just recently, a little while ago, we had Monday Night Mutiny that just posted, which you can also find on the LWF's YouTube page at LWF Television, I believe. And you can definitely view that. A lot of great matches. Many friends of Sportswire Radio are on tonight's Monday Night Mutiny that has just been posted, and set the tables for us here, Mikey Fitz, on what we can expect for those that are going to view this on YouTube for the LWF's latest show, Monday Night Mutiny Hour, a Monday Night Raw version of the LWF.
Right, so on this most recent episode, we have got 3 great matches. We have got the Lost Soul, Kai Aran, taking on Balatius. So in a modern-day David versus Goliath battle. I'm shaking the table here with him.
Are you shaking because you're talking about Balatius?
Yeah, he does. And I was up close and personal with Balatius. There's an interview with him on the episode.
Well, I can't wait for that. I'm definitely watching that right after we get off the air.
Which worried me. Steve Bibby putting me in danger as usual. We've also got the asset Steve Cross taking on Jack Barron, and that was a fantastic battle, which I'm sure the fans will enjoy. Jack Barron's official debut in the LWF. It was good to finally get him on one of our shows. And we also had as Taz would say, we had a rocket buster. We got a rocket buster, Cole. We got a rocket buster main event where it was Masked Marauder and Mysterious Mr. B of Los Lancadores taking on Clash and Big Ron Ronson of Shining Wizard. Oh, look, and Bob Costin's joining us.
Oh, you spoiled it. I wasn't going to say his name. Boo. But I'm going to do something for him.
Hello, Bobby-O.
I'm going to do something, though, for him because I know that I've heard when he's in the back, he likes when I say the number one, maybe pro wrestler.
I think it's not an exaggeration to say that he is your biggest fan. So, yeah.
And I have to say, why hasn't Mr. Costin come back on Sportswire? I feel like I've asked him
I don't know. Many times. It's difficult sometimes because, Bob, I've been trying to get him to get into the groove of being the Costinator for a long time now. For nearly a year, I've been trying to get him foist the Costinator
he's really
onto him.
A whole new, a whole new image almost. We're going to talk about him in a little while. You know it, I know it, and the whole world knows it because Wildfire Nate Reese, who we're going to have on Friday, I think the last 2 Fridays, unfortunately, we were preempted with him. We're going to definitely have him on now because scheduling has definitely opened up for different reasons, but we're going to have a lot of LWF talk for sure. But Mr. Costin, you got to come back on. You still got to come back on. You still got to come back.
Absolutely does, yeah. Who doesn't want to have a chat with Mr. Robert Costin, eh?
I know a lot of people would love. Listen,
beautiful Bobby Costin.
Listen, in all seriousness, listen, we're going to get to Bob Costin because it's a very, very intriguing match here. But Monday Night Mutiny, I mean, again, I'm so intrigued by it because this is almost like the prelude going into the Red Rose Rodeo. And I want to give the company a lot of credit here for a second, because I know sometimes we speak and we say, oh, management this, management that. But the fact that what we get here, just about every month here, is that you get a LWF show, free to watch, free on the LWF's YouTube page, and you can watch top talent like the Acid Stephen Cross, talent like the Los Slankadors, like those from Shining Wizard, like a Bob Costin who's been on there, like the Wrecking Crew have been on there. I mean, you're getting first-class professional talent that are going on to do bigger and better things. And in the LWF, they've rose up the ranks. So I want, ladies and gentlemen, everybody to follow the LWF. First of all, on Twitter, LWF Thought, Instagram, the LWF Wrestling, Facebook, the LWF page. Also, LWF fans, join the public group on Facebook. And most especially, so you can watch Monday Night Mutiny, LWF TV television, coming up on YouTube. I think we only have 400 subscribers. Let's get 400 more. So go there if you're right now watching this and watch Monday Night Mutiny, because you have professional wrestling talent that I'm telling you, you're going to be blown away by.
I mean, the whole Mutiny sort of, that was always, I know, like, I think Odyssey have a show called Mutiny as well.
Yes, we had one Saturday.
Which I think was unintentional on Steve Ibby's part. Steve's whole thing is he wanted to do sort of like I say, a monthly show, and then I sort of suggested elements of it. So the bit where anyone who's never watched an episode of Mutiny, it's like Monday Night Raw crossed with the old Mid-Atlantic / Memphis wrestling show from back in the day. So we'll have matches in the ring in front of a studio audience, and then they'll come over to me to the interview area, and we'll do some interviews. So I'm the ring announcer. So in effect, I'm the Tony Schiavone of that.
I have noticed.
Or the Dave Brown or whatever, and Steve's on commentary with Jamie Brewster, and they're kind of like the Davy Crockett, and I think Davy Crockett and I'm so sorry for forgetting his name, Bob Caudle.
I'm glad you pronunciated it rather than I, because I butcher literally everything. And we know that, especially if you're an LWF fan here, how many times I've butchered LWF pronunciations in the past here. And let me get to a couple of different comments here. And again, Monday Night Mutiny, definitely, I'm telling you, go watch the show. And the first one that's chimed in here is the Lawman Kyle Kennedy from Nonstop Action Wrestling, undefeated big man. He is chimed in here. He's watching. Hello. He's been on a number of my different streams, whether it was RPD and it was obviously Nate Reese, everybody else. He's been on those streams. And there's somebody else that is a big man. He's had a lot of success in different companies. He's actually famously in a buddy video with the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera, and he's definitely a guy been in with some big stars. Bentley's been in the ring with in the main event, and that is somebody that might be related to a disciple. And he asked you a question. He says, looking for talent, new talent? I know a guy. I mean, are you looking for new talent?
Hey, if you want to, then send your particulars, send your details along with some footage maybe to Mr. Steve Ibby, and because he's always on the lookout for bringing in new talent, giving new people a chance. So we've got a great base roster, and we're always happy when new people can come in and get some fresh matchups and stuff like that. So yeah, send some details over to Steve Ibby. I'm sure if you've got some footage of your wrestling, if you've got some pictures, send them over. I'm sure he'll have a look.
Well, let me just give, again, cheap plug here, unannounced here, but since I'm live, let me do it. Let me give a personal endorsement to these two guys here. First of all, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy, up-and-coming wrestler, big man training. He's got a lot of intensity. He's definitely somebody that he's got a future in the business. So that's my first endorsement. But the second one, especially when it comes to a guy named Disciple, who's been a world champion, been in the ring with the Ronin Brian Adenson, been in the ring with the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera, just had a main event a few months ago with Bentley. Looking at his size, he also does some acting. I mean, this guy, you look at him, he's in tip-top shape. I mean, he would be a great opponent for an Eitan Steen, even somebody that he'd really be somebody that would be a great asset to have for any couple. Look, I'd even love to see him with Steve Cross anytime. So listen, that's my endorsement, my ringing endorsement for both guys. So definitely, if you want to, guys, Facebook at Steve Bibby. So give him a friend request. You tell him Tom Bryce sent you. You tell him that Mikey Fitzgerald was on a stream, and you send him some footage, and I will personally also follow up with that. So I will make sure of that. And Mr. Kennedy says appreciate the shout out. So all great stuff there. So guys, definitely do that. And again, getting back to the LWF, and I want to go run down the card here for a little bit. We'll definitely come back. I'm sure other people will chime into the streams, but let me actually go right off the bat here and talk about a match that we saw kind of was in the making of the works here in the last month or so. And that was Aurora Tevez and Leah Raven. Obviously, they were on opposite sides here and of a 6-person tag match we saw last month at the 8-person tag match at the last LWF event here. And in this match, I have a feeling in some ways very well might steal some of the spotlight on some of the other matches here at the Red Rose Road, which is saying a lot here, Mikey Fitz. But set the tables for us and what we can expect between Aurora Tevez and Leah Raven.
Well, as you mentioned, they were both on opposite sides of an 8-person tag on our last show on the 21st of May and at Wastelands. And they both of them, made it very clear that they were not satisfied with what happened and they wanted another piece of each other. So Steve Bibby, you know what he's like. He likes when people.
I'm very well aware.
When people want to butt heads, he's happy to oblige them. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to have Leah Raven, who has been impressive every time we've seen her. She's been in the. This will be her, I believe, her 3rd match in the LWF. She was originally she made her debut in the Lancashire Riot back in February, and then she was part of that 8-person tag back in May. So this will be her first singles match. We've seen Aurora Tevez quite a few times now.
Yep.
She was aligned. She's aligned, of course, with Jenny B. She's helped her out in the past. Jenny B won't be on this show, unfortunately. She made that very clear on the last show that she wasn't going to be for this show in July. But it's going to be, I think, when two people really, really want to go at it, that lets you know that there's some intensity there. There's a desire to clean the other one's clock, shall we say. So I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have numerous great matches on this show, and this will be one of them. We've got 3 women's matches in total, and they're all going to be, I think, fantastic contests. So this is one that I can't wait to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, every month we speak about an LWF show, and let's be honest, every single match for every single LWF show is great. I've never found one bad LWF match so far. So at the end of the day, this is a match that I'm extremely excited about. But the entire card is stacked up and down. And another match that I want to get to, speaking of the trio of women's matches, such an intriguing matchup here. That is Tonga and Kelly Van Ness. And Tonga, we saw, obviously lost the Odyssey Pro Wrestling World Championship this past weekend. But Tonga, again, she is definitely the it girl. She is definitely, everybody is always, pun intended, obsessed with Tonga. She is definitely one of the premier women's wrestlers around, not just in the UK, but all of professional wrestling. And Kelly Van Ness.
In the world. In the world, absolutely. If you were doing genuinely, if you were doing like a list of like the top however many women wrestlers in the world, in fact, take gender out of it, even just wrestlers in the world, you're going to have Tonga in the discussion.
Absolutely, I think if I would have
in the past year or so as well, she's been superb, and it's always great for us in the LWF when obviously Tonga doesn't she's not always the nicest person in the world, based on the way she's behaved in the
Well, even Wildfire Nate Reese has found
brick.
that out. Listen, his former bestie Tonga. I mean, Wildfire Nate Reese apparently still hasn't heard from Tonga.
I think Tonga's probably better, closer friends with her brick than she is with Nate Reese.
Probably.
But it's always genuinely, it's when someone the caliber, the caliber of Tonga coming into the LWF, it's great. It really is. And this rivalry with Kelly Van Ness has been one of the most intense and intriguing rivalries that we've had in the LWF. We've never really sat down with Tonga and got like a proper sort of explanation as to why she hates Kelly Van Ness so much, but she clearly does. And Kelly Van Ness, she's in the past, she's always been renowned for being, happy-go-lucky.
Yep.
She likes to dance. She likes to do her ska dancing. But in recent months, we've seen a different Kelly Van Ness. And on the last show back in May, she wasn't able to compete because Tonga again hit her with a brick at the Future Shot Training School. So Kelly Van Ness is the first time ever really in the LWF. In the past, she's just been competing for the love of competition and to try and become the LWF Women's Champion. This is a real personal issue. Of course, it escalated back in April at Slamaganza when using that brick, which I believe Tonga found in a local building site. There was some building work going on near Chorley Town Hall. I believe seriously there was. And I
believe it with Tonga.
She stepped out that afternoon, and everyone for like half an hour, everyone was saying, "Where's Tonga?" And we all thought she'd gone to get some food or something. Apparently, it turns out she paid a trip to the building site and picked up a friend to bring back with her. Thanks to that brick shot, Kelly Van Ness lost a tag team match, a Lucha de Apuestas tag team match, where her hair was on the line, and Bob Cosman ended up being the chivalrous man that he is, taking the haircut instead, locking Kelly Van Ness backstage so she couldn't have her hair cut, and then he had it cut instead. So that only added to the dislike between Kelly Van Ness and Tonga. Kelly Van Ness, she's this has been building up now, and she's looking to get some payback. She's been hit with a brick. She's injured her ribs. She's had all sorts of issues with Tonga. And this, like I say, this will be, I don't think it'll even be a wrestling match, really. It's going to be a scuffle. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be something you're not going to want to miss. We talk about how, I could vouch for every match on this show because I'm looking forward to seeing all of it. But if you want to talk about main matches on this show, this one between Tonga and Kelly Van Ness, that's one. This one's a ticket seller. This one's going to be a good fight, as they say. It's going to be a real good fight. See, it's going to be one heck of a rodeo.
Listen, this match could very well be a main event. This could really be the match because Tonga's a main event level wrestler. Tonga, like you pointed out, is right now one of the premier wrestlers in the entire world. And Kelly Van Ness, I always say it, she's like the Reynaldo of the female women's wrestlers in the LW. She is beloved. She is very, very popular. So at the end of the day, this is a legitimate match that's going to sell tickets, and it's also a match that I could very well make the case, and many matches are going to be like this undoubtedly at the Red Rose Rodeo, but this is a match that I could definitely say, you know what? That's a main event. I mean, Tonga, Kelly Van Ness, a lot of people, I think, are going to really, really want to see this match, and so intriguing. I mean, I can't even put you on the spot and who's going to win because I really have no idea. And I'm not just saying it because I really have no idea.
Neither do I. It's like, it's just, I mean, we'll be lucky if they both make it through the match at this rate.
Good point.
The way things are going between them, we'll be lucky to for both of them to survive to the other side of it. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be two people who don't like each other throwing down. Like I say, ironically, it's not either of their first rodeos. But it isn't. And it's going to be like a throwdown in a Wild West saloon. It's going to be an absolute brawl, and I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it.
So am I. I'm definitely extremely excited about it. Again. Very, very excited about all of it here. We are speaking with the man who's going to be on the call here coming up here this Saturday at the Red Rose Rodeo. That is Mikey Fitzgerald, who does a phenomenal job here at everything LWF related. And I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportzwire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. And we are speaking all things related to the LWF. Another match that I really feel like in any other company would also be a main event, and it's arguably one of those matches. Again, so many matches here I could make the case for, but Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake. Lachlan Sharp right now, when I think about wrestlers right now, premier wrestlers, he's up there. Right? Anytime you could say you're in the ring with a Lachlan Sharp, that's a big deal, right? The Acid Stephen Cross was in the ring with him. The Ronin Brian Adenson we've had on here, he's been in the ring with him recently, holds a victory over him. So Lachlan Sharp, anytime you speak about him, anytime you get the chance to have him, it's a big deal. And he's going to be in the ring with Rob Drake, who also, in his own right, is up there. I mean, this is a match. I mean, you got to give these guys at least, I guess, 15 minutes. They got to get some time here.
I think it's because the last battle they had was a 15-minute time limit draw. I think at this time they've got at least they've got either 20 or 30 at this time. I've not got the actual,
you know what? That's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm saying to myself, watching these guys, which I've gotten a chance to check some of their stuff on YouTube, these guys gotta go at least 22, 23 minutes. Just because of what they bring to the table, and also the animosity between these two. I mean, You could really cut a knife between them just in how much they don't like each other. And this is a grudge match for grudge matches.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Rob Drake, for a long time, was bitter that other people were getting opportunities in the LWF and he wasn't. And that led to him taking his ire out on to wrestle one another at Slamaganza, and they went, like I say, it went 15 minutes. Rob Drake's possibly had it won with a sleeper hold, but we will never know. We'll never know if Lachlan Sharp would have been able to get out of it because the time limit expired. And so this time, I believe don't quote me, I think it's a 30-minute time limit. I think, anyway. So it's more than 15 anyway. But to be honest, like you mentioned the intensity between the two men, the two.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting back here for Mikey Fitzgerald, and that is the magic of technology, the magic of audio. That sometimes these things do happen. So we are waiting for Mikey Fitz to come back on here. That is certainly maybe, who knows, maybe Lachlan Sharp or Rob Drake heard something here and they wanted a different thought or a different perspective. And Kyle Kennedy chimes in here and says the LWF in need of a lawman. Well, I mean, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, maybe we need a lawman to fix the internet here, because we're waiting here for Mikey Fitzgerald and he's lost in translation. So maybe so. I mean, maybe we do need a lawman. And it looks like there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have lost Mikey Fitzgerald here, lost in translation. We will wait for him to come back on here on Sportswire Radio. And again, if you like what you hear from the LWF, I highly encourage that you give the LWF a follow. And Damian Stone here, who was on the call with us here a little while ago, says, and he saw Lachlan Sharp at KOW's last show. Redemption said Lachlan Sharp is definitely one to watch. Absolutely. Listen, Lachlan Sharp, I find everything I've seen from him in Future Shock Pro Wrestling, I mean, this is a guy that I would put a lot of pounds on to see in the ring. I would pay a lot of pounds to see him in the ring. And he's going to be against Rob Drake, and that's going to be a banger, because if you're a fan of professional wrestling in the UK, the match that he and Sam Bailey just had over at Odyssey Pro Wrestling's Mutiny, I mean, that is going to be a match that if you thought that was good, something tells me Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake could very well be even better. So something tells me here that's going to be a great match. But there's a lot of other great matches here on the card that you're going to definitely want to check out. You're going to have Nick Cutter and Chris Stone. Nick Cutter, obviously, and Chris Stone of the Wrecking Crew, the former tag team champions, the first ever LWF tag team champions here. And somebody else here says Tom Bryce, the wrestling interviewer, GOAT, greatest of all time. I don't know about that, my friend. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, certainly, though, I will say, though, for the lawman Kyle Kennedy, if you are watching this, what's your schedule next week? I mean, if you're not doing anything, I have some times available. In fact, if you're available this weekend, even, I'd bring you on the radio. So the lawman Kyle Kennedy, if you're available and you want to talk some wrestling, I'd be happy to talk with you. In fact, we've also reached out to Champ Rogers, also of Nonstop Action Wrestling, and apparently Mr. Rogers wants to come back on as well. So maybe that might be something else in the pike here as we wait for Mikey Fitzgerald. I also want to announce while we're here, Thursday night, you're going to get a double play combo. Because leading off 8 p.m. British Standard Time, we're going to get Connor Cage here of Nonstop Action Wrestling. He'll respond to the words here from Disciple. We'll also get right afterwards Young Horace. So Young Horace is going to be on right after Connor Cage, and the lawman Kyle Kennedy says, free whatever. Yeah, what's your schedule, I guess? Now I'm going off the fly because I'm waiting for Mikey Fitzgerald of the LWF here. So what's your schedule, I would say, this coming weekend? What's your schedule Sunday night, maybe Sunday night or next Thursday? So either one of those days, that's the day we'll make it happen. So the lawman Kyle Kennedy, you've heard it here first on Sportswire Radio. He will be back on here. He'll undoubtedly respond to some of the things, I'm sure, when it comes to Connor Cage, Wildcard Tommy Dillon, certainly, of course, Disciple. Who knows who else? I mean, I love Nonstop Action Wrestling. And I want to say, if you're here right now, if you haven't been following Nonstop Action Wrestling, you need to give them a follow on Instagram at NSAW Official. That is NSAW Official. Also, like the Facebook page, Nonstop Action Wrestling. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, Sunday is good for me. All right, so the lawman Kyle Kennedy, we'll make it happen this Sunday, maybe 8 o'clock or 8:30 British Standard Time. We'll hang out for a little while, and we'll shoot the breeze, and we'll fill in the blanks here. So we're just waiting on here, Mikey Fitzgerald. I mean, listen, at this point, if he doesn't come on, I'll throw on a wrestler. So if you're a wrestler on right now and you're bored and you want to talk, maybe I'll even bring you on if we don't hear from Mikey Fitzgerald the next few minutes, because that is the magic of technology. These things do happen. So obviously, people's internet connections are down. Different things come up. So we'll definitely wait here for Mikey Fitzgerald of the LWF. We'll definitely give him his time. And if you like what you hear from the LWF, you can give them a follow on Instagram at the LWF Wrestling, Twitter, LWF Love, Facebook, also LWF, and LWF Television on YouTube. And also, they're on Powered 4 TV. So if you like Powered 4 TV, which shows a lot of independent wrestling throughout the world, and specifically the UK, so that's a place you want to check out, the LWF. And the lawman Kyle Kennedy says Sunday, 8:30. So there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the lawman Kyle Kennedy is coming back here, 8:30 p.m. British Standard Time. So just for you, the lawman, I'm going to do it since we're killing some time here. We're waiting for Mikey Fitzgerald. The lawman Kyle Kennedy. Hopefully that was good enough for you, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, because we're just killing time here, waiting for Mikey Fitzgerald of the LWF here, and let's see if we've heard anything from him. And there he is. That's the magic of technology. He's here. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to you, Mikey Fitz? Did Rob Drake hack your Wi-Fi? What happened there?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Oh wow, yeah. I think my laptop just overheated. It's happened a couple of times recently. I think I'm going to need to get one of the. So I'm on my Kindle now. I'm going to have to get.
So we'll try to run it. We'll run it as shotgun as possible here. That way, in respect of your internet connection. So Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake, we were just talking with some of the different people on the stream here. Obviously, it's going to definitely be a match. It's going to be a banger. There's no question that this is definitely going to be a banger here. So that's another reason why you definitely want to follow the LWF. But I want to get to another match, which I kind of segued into here, and that's Shining Wizard against Chris Stone and Nick Cutter of the Wrecking Crew. Obviously, the Wrecking Crew were with us here last month. Instead of Nick Cutter, it was Davey Getsky, and the Wrecking Crew are as dangerous as ever. And Shining Wizard, well, obviously, Ron and Clash, I mean, certainly they hold their own. So, I mean, it's almost a clash of size, a clash of groups, a clash of everything in between, and set the tables for what we can expect.
Well, yeah, no, of course, the winner becomes the number one contender for the tag team titles, and that's what this is all about. You know, on our last show back in May, both of these teams were victorious. Shining Wizard were victorious over the Worst, although it was via disqualification, so they weren't entirely thrilled with that because they wanted to get the pinfall as submission. But it was still a victory, still a tick in the win column, and that put them in contention for the tag team titles. Meanwhile, the Wrecking Crew, AV Getski and Chris Stone have held those titles together before, but the tandem of Nick Cutter and Chris Stone hadn't. So they got themselves a big win over Jack Roberts and Troy Ryan from Synergy. Mm-hmm. And that has put both teams on a collision course with one another. They already don't like each other, and they are now matching up. And it's not just the chance to settle previous issues between them. They also have a chance to become the number one contenders for the tag team titles and get a title shot coming up in August. So there's a lot on the line here.
Absolutely, no question about it. And you almost feel like, in some ways, that both teams need a win for different reasons, leave aside the number one contendership. So that's a lot on the line here. And I've got a good question actually from somebody who's a fan and is a fan of our streams here. This is actually a very good question about the LWF here. So question, as someone who isn't quite familiar with the LWF, how would you sell your show coming this Saturday, the Red Rose Rodeo, to convince me to tune in? That's a great question.
Right. Well, Bradley. How would I sell the LWF to you? I would sell it as it's just a really fun experience. It's really the most thing I can tell you. You know, we have regular fans who come all the time. We've got a good mix of in-ring wrestling. We have it's a show that you can bring anyone to. You can bring if you've got younger kids in the family, you can bring them. They can enjoy it just as much as the older fans can. We have great wrestling. We have fun characters. It's the old free ring circus. We try and have something for everyone. And we have all sorts of different style of wrestling. We have tag team wrestling. We have women's wrestling. We have technical wrestling. We have brawling. We have power wrestling. We have all sorts of different wrestlers all under the same roof. We treat the tag team division as it's important because we have good tag teams. We want to give them a chance to shine. We want to give our women wrestlers a chance to shine. We have traditional heavyweight style. We have smaller high flyers. We have strong storylines going on throughout the show. It's really, again, it's the old free ring circus. We try and have something for everyone else. You don't like the guy getting shot out of a cannon? Well, you got the clowns coming out the car. You don't like the clowns coming out the car. You got the tightrope walker. We aim to have something. We aim to provide to you as a fan a full experience. And again, anyone can enjoy it. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, if you're new to wrestling or you've been a fan for years. I'm almost certain that there'll be something on the show that you'll enjoy. And it's a fun night out. The folk in Buckshaw are very friendly, and yeah, it's great. It's definitely worth. If you've never been to one before, I'd strongly suggest giving it a go. We have people from other companies who come wrestle for us. We've got people from Future Shot. We've got people from Odyssey, people from Bolton Town Wrestling. Elsewhere, we've got people from Catch who come and wrestle in the LWF. We've just got a really nice, varied roster. We've got different styles of wrestlers going at it. And like I said, we have storylines running through the show. And it's just like I say, we try and give something for everyone. And hopefully we succeed on that front. And the chances are, if you like some aspects of professional wrestling, you'll enjoy an LWF show.
Absolutely, no question about it. And another simple question, which people might want to know, is where are you guys based?
So we're based out of Chorley in Lancashire. We run most of our shows either at the Buckshaw Community Centre, Chorley Town Hall, or occasionally we run the Army Reserve Centre in Chorley. So it's
you haven't done the Honor Reserve Center in a while, because I don't think I've announced the Honor Reserve Center here in a while on Sportzwire.
No, we haven't, but they're still on there's still potential to run there. We also have shows at the LWF Academy, which is the Mutiny show, which is once a month. So yeah, we mostly run in the Lancashire area. We haven't really branched out too far elsewhere because I know Steve Bibby is very keen to not step on other promotions' toes.
Well, we're just waiting for you guys to come to Madison Square Garden. That's really what we're waiting for next.
Well, I think Vince McMahon might have something to say about that. But
yeah, he's got no more. He doesn't have any more to say. He stepped down, so
it's a shame.
Who knows?
Well, it's a shame they knocked down the Elks Lodge in Queens. I'd love to run a show at the Elks Lodge in Queens, or the. But then we'd be stepping on the toes of Catalyst Wrestling, and I like Ash Samuel, so I don't want to wind him up either.
I was on a stream with an up-and-coming company, Nonstop Action Wrestling, where some of the talent that has come on of late that's based out of that, they do some work with some other companies, and they actually asked me, I think one of the fans actually asked me, they said, "Oh, were you a fan of ECW when ECW was around?" I said, "Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York at the time, which was not far at all from the Elks Lodge. So I had, basically a front row seat from all those memories and the tape trading days. So yeah, Elks Lodge definitely holds a soft spot in many people. And
the Madhouse of Extreme.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The Madhouse of Extreme, as they used to call it.
And if you were lucky, when ECW did well, they were at the Manhattan Center from time to time. They would occasionally do shows at the Manhattan Center.
Well, usually at Hammerstein Ballroom as well.
Yep. And the Manhattan Center also holds a little bit of lore because that's where the first Monday Night Raw also took place. And also, I believe that was where the first Shotgun Saturday – no, the second Shotgun Saturday, because the first one, I think, was at the Manhattan Mall, at Herald Square. The second one, I think, was the Manhattan Center. So those are some fun footnotes there. But I'm ready to talk some more LWF coverage here because I want to run the card down as respective as much as I can for our guest here right now, the heart and soul of the LWF. That is Mikey Fitzgerald. And, of course, if you like what you hear from Mikey Fitzgerald, you like everything you see from him, his beautiful mugshot, his great voice, highly follow him. I highly encourage that you do give him a follow. You can do that at that Mike Fitz 1878 on Instagram. So if you're a big Instagram person like I am, you can definitely follow him there. Also, if you're on Twitter, I highly encourage Mike Lovejoy Fitz. Very simple, Mike Lovejoy Fitz on Twitter. Facebook, give him a friend request, Michael Fitzgerald. He is definitely somebody that has been one of our biggest champions, one of our biggest supporters. He does a great job with the LWF. The LWF, I want to give it up for them because there's so much that Steve Bibby and Mikey Fitzgerald put into the LWF. And I'm not just saying it because you think about the Monday Night Mutiny shows. You think about the personal notes they give the talent. You think about the atmosphere. You think about a place where all types of wrestlers are welcomed, all types of people. Look at the women's card we mentioned. Look at Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake. We'll get into some more matches here shortly. But everything the LWF does, give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Mikey Fitzgerald and Steve Bibby. These guys are the real deal, and they're real wrestling fans. Sometimes you have promoters, and they're doing it for different reasons. Now, these guys do it. They're not doing it to make a buck. They're doing it because they care, and they want to put on great action, and they're fans. So I want to make sure I give them some credit. But let me get to
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. But let me get to a match. I feel like, speaking of Bob Costin, that I've been speaking about probably longer than the mutton chops are on my face right now. And that is Bob Costin and Wildfire Nate Reese in a lumberjack match. This match, I feel like I have been talking about in the making for, like I said, longer than the mutton chops on my face. It is finally going to come to a head here. Everything that has went down between these individuals, everything that is going on, I am so curious about this match, not even because Wildfire Nate Reese is with us each and every week, but because this match, I mean, you thought Russia and Ukraine was bad blood. You thought about everything else going on in the world. The blood between Reese and Costin, it's finally going to come to an end, and I can promise you, whoever gets that deepest wound, they very well may not be recovering for quite a while.
Well, yeah, as I wouldn't compare it to Russia and Ukraine. I think that's probably.
I was trying to hype it up because we have people on here.
I appreciate that, but let's just say we're not comparing a wrestling feud to a war that's going on.
I can appreciate that. Totally.
But yeah, no. But no, it is a very intense rivalry. It started off at the beginning of the year when Bob Costin and Nate Reese were a tag team in our tournament to crown our inaugural tag team champions. And after the match, they weren't victorious. against the Merseyside Mercenary squad, but they performed admirably. And you would think from the end of the match, we all thought, oh, well, maybe this will lead to a tag team going forward. Maybe this will be a regular thing. Maybe they'll team together more than once. But no, Nate Reese, for a reason, I guess he was jealous of Bob Coston for the support that Bob Coston has enjoyed, whereas Nate Reese hasn't been quite as popular with the fans. He decided to stick a knife between Bob Coston's shoulder blades and laid him out. And that began a heated rivalry between the two that has been going on, and it led to Bob Coston losing his hair in April. As I mentioned earlier, Bob Coston was a chivalrous person. He took the haircut that was supposed to be
what a gentleman, by the way.
Kelly Van Ness. He was, yeah. You won't find many finer gentlemen than Bob Coston. I didn't know a lot of guys who take a haircut like that for someone. For a friend like
Kelly
that.
Van Ness, that's all I could say, and I've said this on here. I've gotten in trouble about 100 times already for it. She definitely looks like Avril Lavigne, so maybe most red-blooded guys would probably have done the same thing. Not saying that's why Costin did it, but I'm sure about almost every other red-blooded guy would probably have done the same thing for Kelly Van Ness. That's all I'm going to say.
But regardless of the reason he did do it, and last month they were both involved in an 8-person tag, and all Bob Costin wanted to do in that 8-person tag was get his hand on Nate Reese, and he just couldn't. Nate Reese kept getting away. Nate Reese kept managing to avoid him, and he even gave a little sneak attack at the end. So Steve Bibby, Bob Costin said to Steve Bibby, I want a match where he can't run away. I want a match where Nate Reese can't run away. So Steve Bibby said, fine. 25th of June, Red Rose Rodeo, Buckshot Community Centre, lumberjack match, because that's one match where you can't run away, because if you do, lumberjacks outside the ring will just throw you back in. So we're finally now one-on-one, no tag team, no 8-person tag, no tag team lucha de apuestas, none of that stuff. It's gonna be Bob Costin one-on-one with Nate Reese, and if Nate Reese tries to tuck his tail and run, he's not going to be able to, because the lumberjacks will put him back in the ring. So we are going to have, one way or another, a decisive winner and a decisive loser, and we are going to try and bring this issue finally to a close. And honestly, I think this match has been building for so long, and it's the first time we've ever had a lumberjack match in the LWF. It's a stipulation that I've always kind of enjoyed watching as a fan. I've always liked the lumberjack match.
I always liked the lumberjack match. Same here.
It's quite it's a bit Memphis, but I quite like Memphis. So I like Memphis wrestling. So it's very much in that sort of vein. And again, it means we're going to get a clear-cut winner and loser, because Nate Reese isn't going to be able to run away this time. He can't flee from Bob Costin. He's going to have to get in the ring. He's going to have to face him one-on-one. And hey, if Nate Reese is the better man, then he can win. Nate Reese is the better man, but he's going to have to prove it. Bob Costin is going to be coming for vengeance. He's going to be coming for revenge for what happened in the tag team tournament, revenge for the fact that he lost his hair. Nate Reese might not have a lot of fun in this here lumberjack contest, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we're finally going to bring this chapter to a close, as they say.
But here's where I'm gonna slightly disagree, because two reasons. One, I think, and I know I've said this here on Sportswire Radio, I think Wildfire Nate Reese is the one who's finally going to get what he's long been waiting for. And I think the Lumberjacks very well possibly could be advantage Wildfire Nate Reese, because we've speculated on potential Lumberjacks. And the names we speculated on live on Sportswire Radio with Wildfire Nate Reese, they sounded to me like advantage Wildfire Nate Reese.
Well, we know who some of them are going to be. We know that Steve Cross has said he'll do it.
Yes.
Shining Wizards have implied that they'll be out there. Shining Wizards have implied that they'll be out there. Kairan has said that he will do it. The Lost Soul Kairan said he will be one of the Lumberjacks. So we'll see who shows up, really, to be a Lumberjack. It's one of those things when you have a Lumberjack match where people who are already on the show, anyone else who's on the show can be there. People, I believe, will turn up especially just to be in it. I know Gorgon's going to be on the show, Axel Strife. the Blazing Guns. There's lots of people who could potentially be a lumberjack in this match. Heck, we might even see some of the women wrestlers out there. We might see someone like Stacey Rose out there as a lumberjack. So we're going to have quite a few potential avenues this can go down. So yeah, there will be some friendly faces for Nate Reese, I'm sure, but there'll also be some people there who, regardless of where they stand on the rule breaker or fan favorite spectrum, they're going to be there to do a job. They're getting paid to be a lumberjack, and if you don't do your lumberjack job properly, CBB might not pay you. So if you want that nice double pay for some if you want to get paid for some lumberjackage,
you get overtime. You might as well do it properly. I guess you get overtime or time and a half. Whatever they call it, right? I don't know what it is.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have to discuss that with the union, but I'm sure.
I'm not getting in the middle of that. I'm not touching that one. Certainly, good luck to whoever wants to. But I know one thing. It's going to be a match in which I still think, and I'm going to get to the Acid Stephen Cross in a second, I still think this is going to be advantage Wildfire Nares because he's the one that's one-upped Bob Costin on the mind games every time, and he's been able to one-up him. Something tells me here, I'm not just saying it because Bob Costin and Wildfire Nate Reese, we've taken Nate Reese's side, but I'm saying it because Wildfire Nate Reese is the veteran. Wildfire Nate Reese knows psychology. And the run Wildfire Nate Reese is on, to be fair to his credit right now, over the past several months, I've made the case here right now. It's all going to, I think, climax here Saturday night at the Buckshot Village Community Center. Wildfire Nate Reese right now is on one of the best runs of his career, certainly in a long time.
That's right. Nate Reese is on an excellent run. I think I was speaking to someone recently, someone by the name of Jack Halewood, who you might not know of, but he was a wrestler who used to wrestle back in the day in Future Shock. And he was around Nate Reese during that period when all three of us were wrestling there. And he remarked to me how much of a change he's seen in Nate Reese and how much sharper Nate Reese is looking these days and how much he's putting those ring smarts to good use. And he made a very good point. This might be, in some ways, the best Nate Reese we've ever seen. He is like that bottle of brandy or that fine wine where he is getting better with age. But there's something about Bob Costin that just seems to put Nate Reese off his stride in a way that I've never really seen before. And I think, honestly, Nate Reese has he's been picking his spots with Bob Costin a lot, but in a lumberjack match, that's sort of removed. So basically, like I say, if Nate Reese is man enough, mono a mono, as they say, to defeat Bob Costin, then fair enough. He'll deserve all due praise. But the chances that the assistance that he's had in the past, the avenues that he's been able to explore in the past, to exploit, they're not going to be there this time because the lumberjack match sort of negates that. So we'll see how he does at the stipulation. This stipulation, I think, favors Bob Costin more than it favors Nate Reese because Bob Costin just wants to get in there and fight. And Nate Reese is going to be forced to engage because he's not going to be able to get away. Because if he does, the lumberjacks will pop him back in.
True, but Wildfire Nate Reese, to me, I'm going to go on the veteran experience. I'm going to go on him being the floor general. I'm going to go on the fact that he's going to be methodical. He knows that. Wildfire Nate Reese has been in the ring with just about everybody here in our scene in the UK. He knows what to do. And yes, it might be seen by some that Wildfire Nate Reese doesn't want Bob Costin in the ring or he's tried to get away from him, but I know Wildfire Nate Reese. I've gotten to know him, and I'm confident in Wildfire Nate Reese's ability. I'm confident in the fact that Wildfire Nate Reese here is going to find a way. We'll certainly find out here. But the other half of our LWF Power Hour, which you can hear generally on Sportswire Radio, sportnarium.com/player, Friday nights, although we play it on the weekends sometimes. We play it pretty much everywhere. We also post some clips on Instagram, also at the Sports Report 2021. My Twitter, Thomas Price 2017. Sometimes in the LWF fans group on Facebook is the Asset Stephen Cross. And the Asset Stephen Cross, legitimately, though, and I know we've spoken about this with you. We talked about him at the top. He is on a run right now. That this is a guy that he's right now on a path where I think he very well could get some gold. We've certainly talked about the Castle Cup situation. We won't get into that any further. But he got another big win here recently. He's been winning a lot more in the last several months. And even when he doesn't win, he wins in my mind. And he's going to be a part of a very, very interesting 6-man tag coming up here. And he'll be teaming up with, for the first time, Gorgon and Axel Strife, who I believe is the first time we're seeing him in the LWF against the mysterious Mr. B, who has been on here in the past in Sportswire Radio, and the Blazing Guns, and including a familiar face who's almost kind of like the unofficial third man to our LWF Power Hour and our Sportswire Radio team from the LWF, the Scenario Nathan Gunn, who I'm going to announce it here because I just spoke with him and he gave me the thumbs up to do it. He's coming on here Friday Night Live, 9 p.m. British Standard Time. So you're going to not only get Wildfire Nate Reese before the match, not only are you going to get the Acid Stephen Cross to recap the Monday Night Mutiny match against Jack Barron, you're also going to get now the Scenario Nathan Gunn to speak about this huge 6-person tag and to get his responses to what the Acid Stephen Cross had to say about him, Wildfire Nate Reese, amongst many others. And he's here and set the tables for it because this is such an intriguing match. And not just because I've literally had on 4 of the 6 people on the past here on Sportswire Radio. I really think this is going to be one of those matches where you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, well, I love these matches. I really do. Like, one thing that's something again that we borrowed from Future Shot Wrestling. They would regularly have 6-man, 8-man, 6-person, 8-person tag team matches, which was a great way for wrestlers you get interesting combinations that you perhaps wouldn't normally get, which is good for the fans. And it's good for the wrestlers too. It keeps them on their toes. And we've got that here. We've got Mysterious Mr. B, who usually tags up with Los Lancadores, and he is going to be tagging up with the Blazing Guns, Nathan Gunn, Comrade Blaze. And I think they will have some continuity at the very least. But the team they'll be facing, I mean, this is going to be a real challenge for Steve Cross because you'd have to think he's going to be the captain out of this, unless it'll be Isaiah Quinn, who's maybe he'll be marshalling them from the touchlines like he's Alex Ferguson or something. Which is a reference I'm sure the asset will appreciate.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Isaiah Quinn will be there. He's of course is the guiding light for Gorgon and Vinnick, the worst. Vinnick isn't there. Vinnick's at Glastonbury, I believe, so he's not going to be available. But Isaiah Quinn has arranged for Axel Strife to be there. So we're going to have Steve Cross, Gorgon, and Axel Strife managed by Isaiah Quinn. Now that is quite a unique foursome, as they say. And honestly, I can never predict these matches. If it's a 6-person, 8-person tag, anything can happen. And that's why I love them, really. It's just like you're just taking a bunch of combustible elements, you're throwing them all together and just watching the firework display. That's basically all these matches are. It's just you take a disparate group of people from all different corners of the LWF roster, stick them in a match together, and you just sit back, put your feet up, and have fun. And I love it. I loved it when Future Shot Wrestling used to do it. You had some bizarre teams. I remember I was teaming one time with was I teaming with the Models? I think myself and Dan Evans were teaming with the Models against like Reynaldo and Damon Lee, and I can't remember who the other team was. I think it might have been Jimmy O'Shea and someone I can't remember now. But yeah, there's one time where I was in there with April Davids, who was the women's champion in the Future Shock, and she suplexed me and choked me out. It was you would. Those matches were a real test of you as a wrestler, because you'd be teaming with people who perhaps you'd never teamed with before, people who perhaps you didn't even like, who in my case didn't like me because no one liked me. And you'd be teaming up against people who you perhaps would never wrestle normally. I think I teamed with CJ Banks in one of these matches once. I teamed with Joey Hayes and the Models in one of them. You're facing people you'd never normally fight. You team with people you'd normally never team with, and it's just great. It's just, as a fan, it's great. I love it. I love it when you get these wacky teams like Axel Strife and Gorgon and Steve Cross, and like they've got to somehow coexist and try and find a way to win the match. I just think it's just for me anyway. That's top class entertainment. I love that. That's the sort of stuff I like in wrestling. I like introducing adversity to people and seeing how they deal with it. So I can't wait, actually. I think that's going to be a really fun match. It's going to be, these matches are usually the party match. You know, it's just like, you literally just sit there and go, right, what are we going to see in this one?
Because think
and
about this
invariably you get something like that.
You got 6 wild cards here. You got the acid Stephen Cross, and we know what he brings to the table. Then you've got Axel Strife we're seeing for the first time in the LWF. Then you've got Gorgon, who's going to have Isaiah Quinn in his corner, we're assuming. Then you've got, obviously, the scenario Nathan Gunn and Conrad Blaze, who certainly need to get back on track. And then you've got the mysterious Mr. B, who, of course, always brings the party. So, I mean, you've got really 6 different wrestlers who bring 6 different elements. It's almost like Baskin Robbins. You get 31 flavors. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, that's kind of what I expect from this match here. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, everybody knows I'm going to be Team Cross, but I'll get Nathan Gunn's side of the story. We love Nathan Gunn, but obviously I'm going to be Team Cross all the way. And Isaiah Quinn has definitely been also a frequent participant here. So, I mean, I'll get last reactions from Cross undoubtedly. We'll ask Nathan Gunn on some of these things that we've heard from our guest here, Mikey Fitzgerald. Got another about 15 or so minutes here. Obviously, we know it's late in the UK, and we appreciate his time here. So I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. That brings me here to the main event. It brings me here such an intriguing match. I'm trying to think of a main event as so interesting and so different than this one here. And that is obviously Eitan Steen, our Castle Cup winner, who's going to be in the ring with Davey Getzky. I mean, Davey Getzky, we had him on here a couple weeks ago. We had him on numerous times on Sportswire Radio. He is always in all of my streams. I mean, this was the first match that was announced here officially on the LWF social media page on Instagram. And also the referee is the world champion, our reigning defending champion, Reynaldo, who we've had on here a few times. And I don't know where this goes here. I mean, the only other situation I can think of was almost SummerSlam 97 with Shawn Michaels, the referee, The Undertaker versus Bret Hart, but Shawn Michaels wasn't the champion. I mean, this is such an intriguing one here. I mean, I don't even know what to say here. I don't know what to. All I can say really is go out and follow the LWF on social media, and if you can, go to the Buckshaw Village Community Center if there's a ticket or 2 left, because something tells me here this is going to be the good, bad, and the referee, literally.
Well, this was Reynaldo being the referee was a caveat inserted by Eitan Steen. For those who perhaps aren't aware of the situation, Eitan Steen won the Castle Cup this year. And when you win the Castle Cup, you are entitled at some point, you have earned yourself a chance to challenge for the LWF Championship, which is currently held by Reynaldo. What happened is Davey Getzky won the Castle Cup back in, I believe, 2018. I think it was no, I think it was 20. I think it might have been 2018.
Okay.
Yes, I think it was 2018 because we never actually. Before we were able to do, no, it may have been 2019. You know, yes, it was 2019.
Because I know he said it.
It was 2019
on a show.
Sorry, COVID's just messed things up because we didn't have one in 2020 because of COVID.
2020. So forget it never existed.
So I'm confused. I'm confused as to when things happened. But yeah, but David Getzky then, due to his actions, getting physical, not just with me but with Steve Bibby. He ended up being stripped of his title shot and he never received it. And he had been doing some legal wrangling behind Steve Bibby's back. And he basically had a legal document saying that he is entitled to a title shot. And if he wasn't going to get it, he was threatening an injunction. He was threatening all sorts of legal activity if Steve Bibby didn't agree to let him have a title shot. So obviously, Eitan Steen, while this was all going on, he's not going to be able to get his shot either. So a match was made. It'd be Davey Getzky versus Eitan Steen. The winner gets the title shot. And Eitan Steen said, fine, we'll do this match, but I want to pick the referee to make sure that it's refereed fairly, to make sure that the wrecking crew can't be involved or can't swing it one way or the other. and he selected LWF champion Reynaldo because Reynaldo is the man with the most integrity, I think, not just in the LWF, but in all of British wrestling entirely.
I would agree.
He is a man. He is a humble, modest, hardworking, decent man. The best, Reynaldo is a great wrestler, but he's also an even better human being, and that to me means he is. Eitan Steen, I think, has picked the perfect referee because Reynaldo will call it down the middle. That might mean, hey, David Getsky might be tough enough to do it fairly in the ring one-on-one. If that's the case, Reynaldo, he'll ring the bell for the submission or he will count that free count. You can trust Reynaldo that no matter who wins the contest, he will raise the hand of the winner and he will do it fairly. So really, Reynaldo is the best bet we're going to get of getting a decisive finish that, is going to be acceptable. And that's probably why Eitan Steen picked him to be the referee, because he's backing himself. So it's going to be great. It's going to be, Eitan Steen, David Getsky going at it, and Reynaldo's going to be the man in the middle. He's going to be the man with the whistle in the football world, as they called, and he's going to be there to oversee things and to make sure we get a fair fight. And I think it's going to take what would already be a great match and make it even better. And I think it's going to be a fantastic main event.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. I mean, you think about the scenarios here, and you think about, obviously, Eitan Steen, who I've said is basically the Jeff Hardy of UK wrestling right now, before Jeff Hardy got arrested a week or plus so ago. And Davey Getsky, I mean, is
that a good thing right now? Is that a good thing? Something to be attaining?
10 days ago, about 10 days ago, Eitan Steen was what Jeff Hardy was 10 days ago. Not right now, obviously, but you think about Davey Getsky and the shape that he's in and what he's done to transform himself. And he was a great wrestler before, but he's an even better wrestler right now. So, I mean, the possibilities here are endless. I mean, it really could go either way, legitimately. I mean, and Reynaldo's in the middle here. And I almost have to ask you this question here before we get to closing thoughts, because it is the main event here. I mean, if you're Reynaldo, I mean, it's almost like pick your poison.
Well, no. I mean, for someone less scrupulous, it would be. But for Reynaldo, he's just going to call it down the middle. And whoever wins, wins.
But don't you Reynaldo pay somebody more than somebody else? Like right now, like I look at Eitan Steen, look at the run that he's been on. Davey Getsky.
I think. I mean, I think Reynaldo would probably likes Eitan Steen more than Davey Getsky.
And I'm sure he would. And most people don't like Davey Getsky.
Yeah, I think he probably has. I'm sure he respects Davey Getsky as a wrestler, but as a human being, I think he much prefers Eitan Steen. And I think with Eitan Steen, you sort of know what you're getting, whereas David Getsky is a bit more duplicitous and someone who perhaps as a champion, you might not want to get in the ring with someone like that. But Reynaldo is a fighting champion. He'll fight anyone. He is, we've seen him in the ring. He's taken on the likes of, he's faced Jack Roberts.
Absolutely.
He's faced Lana Durson.
Absolutely.
He's faced Dan Evans. And he has been victorious on all three occasions. He defeated Nick Cutter to become the LWF champion. He's no stranger to wrestling the Wrecking Crew, so he won't be afraid about wrestling David Getsky. He'll be all for it. On the same token, I'm sure he'd love to wrestle Eitan Steen, because it'd be a respectful battle between two wrestlers who do things the right way.
Right.
So Reynaldo's going to be going into this match with one goal in mind: to referee it fairly, right down the middle, and may the best man win. That's all he's going to care about. And if it's David Getsky, so be it. And if it's Eitan Steen, so be it.
Listen, I'll say this before we move on here and get ready for closing thoughts here. I mean, Reynaldo, no question. The names you rattled off, and we've recapped some of those matches here on Sportswire Radio with Reynaldo himself. I mean, Reynaldo is on a run right now. I mean, you think about all the world champions right now, not just in the UK, but in the world. Reynaldo is on an extremely impressive run. Beats Nick Cutter. Beats Sona Durson. We spoke about Sona Durson countless times. Jack Roberts. Obviously, Dan Evans. I mean, Dan Evans literally is worldwide. So Reynaldo is on right now, arguably the best run of his career. He was world champion 10 years ago, but I would argue that this run is an even more dominant, a more impactful run. So no question that Reynaldo, regardless, is going to be a tough out for Davey Getsky or Eitan Steen. But I'll tell you one thing. What a main event. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on here, all these matches, I could make a case in some ways are a main event. You think about, obviously, Wildfire Nate Reese and Bob Costin. We've spoke about that till we're literally blue in the face. The asset Stephen Cross, our own Stephen Cross here from Sportswire Radio, in the six-man tag. Conversely, with the scenario Nathan Gunn, who's going to be with us Friday night now live, 9 p.m. British Standard Time. You think about Nick Cutter and Chris Shaw. Obviously, Chris Stone. Also going to be in action against Shining Wizard. You think about what that number one contendership brings to the table. I mean, the Wrecking Crew have a lot on the line. I'm going to say this here, and I know I've said this here before because I've called the Wrecking Crew the losing crew, and I've certainly had my back and forth with the Wrecking Crew. We had them on here. The last thing I'm going to ask you, and certainly come this Saturday, transitioning into the next LWF show, Mikey Fitz, I really feel like this is a make or break event as this is going to be for the Wrecking Crew. Because listen, the Wrecking Crew lose again in another tag team match, and certainly Getsky loses here in this match against Eitan Steen. I mean, I think it's definitely make or break for the Wrecking Crew. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Wrecking Crew could either be number one contenders for both of the major champion, for the male singles championship and for the tag team championship. They could be number one contender for both, or they could have nothing when the night is over. It is literally feast or fired. Feast or famine, should I say? Feast or fired is a terrible TNA gimmick. Feast or famine, as they say.
Is on your mind from yesterday. That's why.
Oh yeah, a reverse battle. I don't think we'll ever do a reverse battle royal in the LWF. I can promise everyone. I don't think Stevie would ever be nuts enough to book a reverse battle royal, but we won't get into that. No, it's feast or famine for the Wrecking Crew. Either you become number one contender for the tag title and the LWF title, or you could end up being number one contender for neither, and right back down to the bottom of the queue. So bottom of the pyramid, as they say. So it's a big night for them, but it's also a big night on the flip side. It's a big night for Shining Wizard, because they could do that as well. Shining Wizard could end the night with Eitan Steen being number one contender for the LWF title, and Big Ron and Clash could be number one contenders for the tag titles. Both of those groups, both of those factions have a lot on the line here. And that's why I think it's going to be it's going to be a dramatic night. It's going to be a night with a lot of pressure on people. There's some genuine stakes on up for grabs. There's stuff up for grabs here. And I think that's going to lead to some really fantastic matches, because everyone's going to be going all out to try and be victorious and to get title shots, to get revenge, to climb up the rankings, to prove that they belong in the LWF. There's a lot up for grabs on this show. And I think those two number one contendership matches encapsulate that better than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. And listen, no question that Shining Wizard also have a lot on the line. But the Wrecking Crew, the way they've staked their positions out in the LWF, everything they've said here with us, whether it was Nick Cutter, whether it was Stone, whether it was Getsky, they have, to me, still more on the line. But at the end of the day, it's a great card from top to bottom. Any of these matches could be the top. There is no bottoms here. You have Tonga and Kelly Van Ness, Aurora Tevez and Leah Raven. You have, again, the six-person tag. You have, obviously, Costin and Reese, which we spoke about for ages. Lachlan Sharp and Rob Drake. There are so many great matches here, and these are reasons why you need to follow the LWF, again, Instagram, the LWF Wrestling, Twitter, LWF The. Also, Facebook, please like their page. YouTube, LWF Television. You can see the Monday Night Mutiny show that was recently just uploaded, and so many other great things this company does. Also, Powered for TV, the LWF is also a part of. You also get some free matches, free shows, coverage also on the LWF from old matches, old stuff. So this is really one of our favorite companies. Mikey Fitzgerald, I want to give you the floor. I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you want to share, say, plug. I can't thank you enough, as always. I love our monthly spots here. I can't wait till next month when we do it again. And I give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, share. I can't thank you enough. And the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, first off, I want to thank Reverend Tom Bryce and all the fine folk at Sportswire for having us on, as always. Not just me, but the support for the LWF in general from Sportswire Radio has been fantastic, and it is greatly appreciated. It's great that I get to come on here and talk to you, and not just you, but other people in the LWF. your Steve Cross, your Nate Reese, your David Getsky, your Nathan Gunn, Bob Costa. People can come on here and they can talk, and they've been given a platform in order to speak. So thank you very much for that to Reverend Tom Bryce and Sportswire. If you are on the fence about coming to see us on the 25th of June, we would love to see you there. Red Rose Rodeo, it's going to be fun. I mean, it's cowboy themed. I'm going to be coming in cowboy fancy dress. Fans are welcome to come in fancy dress if they want to. If you want to come dressed as a cowboy or a cowgirl or a cow person, please feel free. Come along. Just come dressed as a cow. You want to come dressed as a cow? That's fine. That's fine. Come stick some orders on yourself. Come along. That'll be cool. You'll be welcome. Come along and see the show. We've got a great card. The wrestlers in the LWF, they always put the effort in. We've got a great locker room. Everyone works so hard. Everyone really fights again. So yeah, you're going to want, if you're on the fence, if you've never been to an LWF show, hey, make this your first one, 25th of June.
Hey, we had Bradley on who legitimately asked us some questions. You know what? He might now go out and go to the Buckshot Village Community Center. He may go out and check. We even had wrestlers come on here and speak about the LWF. So, I mean, this is why the LWF is really one of my favorite companies. And I'm not just saying it because, like Mikey Fitz said, we've had so many I think at this point, it's almost the entire locker room that's come on. Gorgon has come on here. Obviously, the Los Lancadores came on here. Reynaldo came on here a couple of times. Nick Cutter came on here a couple of times. I mean, there's so many people from the LWF that have come on here. And I also want to make sure we give a huge shout out to Steve Bibby for all the great things he does. He is literally one of the hardest working men in show business. Mikey Fitzgerald, you can follow him, Mike Lovejoy Fitz on Twitter, Instagram, that Mikey Fitz 1878. Make sure Facebook also Michael Fitzgerald. I'm telling you something, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited here about everything the LWF is doing. I can't wait to come back on the air this Friday and literally do an LWF marathon here right before the Red Rose Rodeo. We're going to have on, like I said, one more time, Wildfire Nate Reese, the Asset Stephen Cross, and the Scenario Nathan Gunn. It does not get any better than this. My friend, I can't thank you enough. Go rest your voice between now and Saturday. Get some rest. Get some shut-eye. It's going to be a big weekend ahead. I can't wait. And thank you for all that you do for us here at Sportswire Radio. But most importantly, thank you for all that you do for the LWF. And I can't wait for Friday. And I can't wait to talk more LWF.
Thank you, Reverend. And as always, you are my favorite pizza place. Thank you very much.
As we're here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show with the heart and soul of the LWF, that's Mikey Fitzgerald. As I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. We'll be back here once again Friday night, starting 9 p.m. British Standard Time on all of our platforms with the Scenario Nathan Gunn to get you ready for the LWF Red Rose Rodeo. And, of course, he'll be in action as one part of Blazing Guns. And alongside him will be the mysterious Mr. B against the Asset Stephen Cross, Gorgon, and for the first time, Axel Strife. We'll also have on the Asset Stephen Cross who will recap his Monday Night Mutiny match plus final thoughts for the Scenario Nathan Gunn, everybody else, and Wildfire who always has something to say, so you won't want to miss that. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you'll get more wrestling coverage here in about 10 minutes because I'll have on a brand new show from the Rewind Wrestling Podcast. They'll talk about the downfall from Vince McMahon. They'll talk about more fallout from the professional wrestling world. Who knows what else, so tune into that. But if you're all on other platforms, I'll be back here talking college basketball here in the United States, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you, everybody. Good night. And until then, same time, same bat channel, Friday night.